Common ways to make your car's exhaust sound louder. What produces the sound that's coming from the exhaust? The engine's combustion of a fuel and air mixture produces power. In other words, the engine in your car is continuously producing a series of controlled explosions. Sound waves leave the car through the exhaust system as this power is produced. The catalytic converter, muffler, and resonator are just a few of the components that the sound waves and exhaust gases pass through on their way out of the car. Each of these components alters the sound that the vehicle makes. So, let's learn the ways you can use to make your car's exhaust sound louder. Set up a straight pipe exhaust. A straight pipe exhaust is the greatest option if you want to make your exhaust sound louder, much louder. Multiple exhaust components must be removed when switching to a straight pipe exhaust configuration. You will substitute a straight pipe for the catalytic converter, resonator, and muffler. There may be some tuning required to get the straight pipe to work properly, which might significantly raise the cost. However, you will give the exhaust a whole new sound by removing the majority of the restriction. This method will cost you between $450 and $1,250. Eliminate the catalytic converter. It uses a catalytic converter to lessen the dangerous emissions byproduct. It also lessens the noise your car makes. Instead of the converter, you might use a downpipe or fitting pipe to get around this arrangement. The volume of the sound will immediately increase. Your car might only be suitable for off-road driving once the procedure is complete because it is typically illegal to do so. Without the CAT, it won't also pass the emissions inspection. By merely removing the CAT, you can trigger a check engine light on your dashboard and AP0420 code on your scanner. The engine management module also employs O2 sensors to assess catalyst efficiency. To get over this problem, you must reprogram the ECU. This method will cost you between $50 and $350. Remove the muffler. The exhaust component that produces the silence effect is removed when the muffler is taken off. You'll have to swap out the muffler for a pipe that is welded into the system. Although welding is frequently the best option, if you find some suitable pipes, you can also utilize exhaust clamps. To secure the rubber hangers, you might need to weld the mounting. The car sounds significantly different and louder when the muffler is not present. This frequently results in a substantially louder exhaust sound. However, not all US states permit performing. This method will cost you between $20 and $45. Put on a performance muffler. The exhaust sound will change as a result of the performance muffler. It can also make the overall tone louder while still suppressing some sound waves. A hollow design and fewer plates make up the performance muffler's composition. Performance can be improved as well as sound quality thanks to the simple gas outlet. Before putting a performance muffler, make sure it is legal where you live. However, it's frequently preferable to totally remove the muffler. This method will cost you between $65 and $150. Are you learning from the video so far? Great! You won't want to miss out on our future content. So subscribe now to stay updated. Let's keep it going. Put in an exhaust tip. The resonator has the muffler's opposite effect. The resonator tip will vibrate the sound waves rather than bounce them around to mute them, producing a somewhat different sound that isn't necessarily significantly louder. The term exhaust tip is used in this instance because not all automobile models use resonators. The exhaust tip or resonator installation is simple. It will be fastened to the tail of the exhaust system. Additionally, you won't need much money to complete this task. Sadly, this frequently won't make much of a change to the exhaust sound of the car, but it can make a tiny improvement, is simple to install, and will improve the aesthetic of your car. This method will cost you between $35 and $65. Insert a cold air intake. The cold air intake is the best option if you want improved performance and a slightly different sound. Because of the increased oxygen levels brought on by the cold air intake, the engine performs better. Although the exhaust itself doesn't change, the sound emanating from the engine is louder and more forceful, which gives the sound when it exits the exhaust a different tone. When you take off the gas and shift gears on a car with a turbocharger, you'll also hear that awesome turbo chirping sound more clearly. This method will cost you between $150 and $300. Drill holes in the exhaust. The least recommended method, but the cheapest approach to make an exhaust sound louder, is to make small holes in the exhaust. This will result in an exhaust leak, amplifying the noise. Make 4 to 6 holes in the exhaust pipe using your power drill and a 3/8 bit. These holes need to be made before the catalytic converter but after the muffler. You run the risk of allowing harmful gases to reach the atmosphere if you position them before the cat. The waves generated by the engine will travel through the system as they are released, but some of them will escape through the perforations before being silenced by the muffler. The disadvantage of this procedure over the others is that it may increase the number of unhealthy exhaust gases in the cabin. Additionally, it can cause your car to fail a smog test. It will be a problem if the car must undergo an annual inspection in your country. This method will cost you between $0 to $25. Put in a turbocharger. The turbocharger itself doesn't increase the sound of your car's exhaust. In fact, it often has the opposite effect. However, it will unquestionably improve the sound of your car's engine. To increase horsepower and torque, the turbocharger also increases the amount of air in the combustion chamber. No exhaust component will change as a result of the improvement, but the improved performance will alter the car's overall sound. However, this is an expensive upgrade that isn't worthwhile unless you need a significant bump. After installing the turbocharger, you might need to replace other components, including the fuel injectors, and modify the engine control module's map to accommodate the increased fuel demand. This method will cost you between $400 and $3,000. Get an aftermarket exhaust. Installing a full aftermarket exhaust system is the ideal option if you're ready to make some significant changes and have the cash to spare. It's the ideal method for maximizing the amount of airflow that is permitted and enabling extremely loud sound. The manufacturer's standard stock exhaust is extremely constrictive and attempts to minimize sound. The aftermarket exhaust enhances the ideal airflow by removing these constraints. Catback exhausts are widely available on the market. They'll still keep the cat in your car working and give it a louder, deeper sound. You might not have considered it, but the aftermarket exhaust has another advantage. Fewer airflow constraints mean that the engine performance will also improve. After the installation, the engine breathes better, there are fewer obstructions, and you'll notice a significant improvement. This method will cost you between $250 and $1,500. If this video was helpful, please consider subscribing to this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.